Today on the Winning with Shopify podcast.
I didn't even do a business plan. I just did it.
Okay, this lady clearly knows what is going on in this world, and I trust her.
I really wanted to be strict about the types of ingredients. They're all plant-based. It has to be something you recognise, and everything has to have a purpose.
Have I just sold my mortgage to you? Like, what have I done here?
I'm not perfect. I'm not a Robotron.
Good.
No one. Yeah, exactly.
This isn't an AI conversation. We're real people moaning about things. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Winning with Shopify podcast. If you tuned in last week, I'm still wearing the yellow t-shirt, but I put a jumper on to try and hide it, but then thought someone's going to notice. I get more emails about little details like that than about marketing sometimes. But welcome back to the show. Yes, I'm recording more than one episode on one day. So spoiler alert, see if you hear me wearing the same t-shirt and or jumper in the next week's episode. I might not because the posting might get shuffled. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, leave us a review. And if you're first time tuning in, hello, I'm Nick. And all of the rest of the things I've just said make absolutely no sense unless you go back and watch last week's episode with Janice as well. I'm welcoming back another guest. We're doing a few guests back who we've had on previously. Janice Thomas from last week has been on several times, and we were talking about AI and lots of things that are affecting her business and her teams and how they're approaching that. Delighted to welcome back Rebecca from Conscious Skincare. So Rebecca, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. Thanks so much for inviting me on again, Nick. We're all good. We're still going and we're still here on the beautiful west coast of Wales, enjoying the gorgeous sunshine and 4 seasons in a day. Yeah.
Amazing. And we're going to dig into that a bit more. I absolutely love Wales. And we've only had one season here just south of London today, and it's been grim season, which we get for about 9 months of the year, where it's grey. It doesn't quite rain, which means my grass doesn't get watered, but it's also not sunny. But we're having you back on. You've been on, we were trying to work this out a minute ago. It's about 2 years ago you were last on.
Yeah, 2023.
Yeah, and there's obviously a big void there. I love that you mentioned we're still going. To tell a very quick story that's always stuck with me. I was in the barbers once, and there was this chap next to me, and he's quite old, and they sort of helped him into his chair, and then says, "How are you?" And he just went, "So I got up this morning." And then a long pause, and everyone went, okay, that is the answer. And it was like, he's just happy to be alive. And that's always inspired me. But so, Rebecca, it's been 2 years since you were last on, and lots has changed over that time. But also, lots of people won't have heard that initial episode with you on, maybe not come across the brand before. Tell us, I love the story as to why you started it, and tell us a bit about why you started and what you guys are doing today, how it's evolved.
Cool. Well, it all started a very long time ago when I was in a previous life doing a very corporate job, living in London and buzzing around doing a few more air miles than I certainly do today. And always been into health and fitness ever since I was 12 years old. And when I was that age, it was the aerobics boom. Which, a lot of you.
Who was the guy on TV in the UK?
Mr. Motivator in the
Mr. Motivator.
leotard.
Yeah, that was
He's
him. And he
still
just
going,
always... Is he?
Yeah.
He was like on BBC News most mornings, and he'd sort of be walking on and off one single step of the staircase going, "It's so easy, guys. We can all do it together," with a funky beat. I remember him. What a legend.
Oh, yes, he's still going. He pops up at
Nice.
random festivals and stuff like that.
Of course he does. Yeah.
Well into that.
Yeah.
So that kind of began my own health and fitness journey. And from there, I actually qualified as a fitness instructor, weights instructor, all that stuff. But I knew
you don't run a fitness brand, do you?
I know I don't. I did kind of start out. I did want to get into the fitness industry, but it was, again, a very, very different place to how it is today. Totally different. So, just wasn't on people's agenda in the way that it's on people's agenda today.
Yeah.
Most people's
agenda. Yeah. Sorry, I keep interrupting. So you were working in that corporate life.
No worries. Back in that corporate life, for me, it wasn't just about the fitness. It was about health. It was about food. It was about everything. It was about environment. Although I kind of kept that very quiet to myself, bearing in mind the job I was doing, which was like a relationship manager for an investment bank. So it's like very at the opposite end of the spectrum of where my thoughts and ethos were. And I was delayed at an airport. I was actually in Dublin, and I bought my usual pot of cream, which I thought at the time, like a lot of people, if it's in a pretty box and it costs a lot of money, then it's really good stuff. So I was sitting there and I just started to read the ingredients, and I did Latin at school, and I thought, okay, I can translate some of this stuff, but still, what the hell is this stuff? Because I'm not recognizing anything here that looks to me like anything I know. And that kind of started me thinking around, what the hell is this? What the hell is that? And asking lots of questions. And that was the initial seed that was sown into really getting into the research around what's in all these products on the shelves. What are we being punted, basically? And what, in a lot of cases, are we paying an awful lot of money for that actually
Doesn't work.
isn't,
And
yeah,
yeah,
is just a pot of rubbish. Let's use a polite word. Um, and it just extended on from then. And then we had the opportunity, we kind of decided, right, we're going to get out the city, change our lives. Unfortunately, as part of that journey, my husband ended up being poisoned by a very famous type of pesticide, which you will see alongside foodstuffs in supermarkets, which does alarm me because it's a poison and we don't really want it going on our soil and into our food. But hey, that's an argument for another day. Um, and he was really ill because of it. And you'd think where we live now in Wales, with farmers, the chemicals that they interact with, that the hospitals round here would be familiar with that kind of poisoning. They weren't. And they basically said to me that if he presented these symptoms again, they'd send him to the psychological unit.
yeah, well,
So that was an eyebrow raiser. So
yeah,
we contacted a private GP who used to work at the in the poisons department at St George's Hospital in London. And he said, "Oh, absolutely. This is glycophosphate. This is what it does. This is the what it can cause if you get it on your skin," which he had just kind of there a little bit. And yeah, so it was a case of, right, well, we better make our own stuff, because at least we know what's in it and really limit that chemical exposure, because his body just went into overdrive, allergic to everything and all the rest of it. So it's kind of my previous journey and that episode that kind of all came together. And I'd always wanted to run my own business as well. So it's like, right, I've got an opportunity here. I'm going to go for it. And as I was saying to someone yesterday, talking to me about things, I said, I didn't even do a business plan. I just did it. All the things that, they're
yeah,
always
yeah.
telling you should do.
I mean, just on
Yeah,
that note,
none of that.
yeah, we here at my agency, we've totally stopped doing business plans. Do you ever find that in your warehouse you have dead stock? You can't sell it, no one wants to buy it, and you can't get a refund on it. Or alternatively, you're missing inventory in your warehouse that you need. You've got sales coming in and you're low on stock and you haven't ordered more stock in time. All these things hit profit, and I've been there. I've run my own Shopify store and had exactly that problem. But we've partnered it up with Inventory Planner, who have the most incredible app to help you manage that and forecast exactly what products, what SKUs, even down to what color of product you need to order in advance to make sure stock levels remain consistent throughout. They're also running a 7-day boot camp. And if you want to go and sign up to that, it's 7 emails over 7 days. And it takes the same amount of time as your morning coffee. And in 7 days, like me, you can become an inventory management pro. Both links are in the description. Enjoy. We have an advisor, Sean, who I should probably shout out on a sort of like every 2 or 3 minute basis. I've got him on retainer and I've learned so much from him. I know you don't listen to this, Sean, but if ever you do, thank you. I normally I never say saying thanks for anything. It's just like, what do you think of this? Okay, cool, and that's it. And but Sean's always said to me, like, the problem with the business plan is you get to the end of the year and go like, well, we said we were going to grow 20%, we've grown 25%, and then a genius like Sean comes along and says, could you have grown 200%? It's like, actually, yeah, we achieved this at like week 3 of January. What do we do for the rest of the year? Well, we just rode that wave and everyone was very happy. And equally, you could say we shrunk by 10% this year. Oh, we're so upset because we set a 50% growth target or something silly. And you get to the end of the year and go, well, we shrunk 10%. How disappointing. And everyone's really depressed. But 90% of our competitors have gone bankrupt. So actually, we've done really, really well. So he said it's all relative and it's always sort of as much as possible all the time and keep an eye on what industries are doing to know if you're above or below. But he just made the point: business plans, they give you either a warm, fuzzy feeling or a depressed feeling. And the reality is, you were going to do what you were going to do. You want to focus on as much as possible. So I completely agree. And I think certainly for e-commerce, it's the same. It's like, are we profitable? Yes. How do we be more profitable? And that's the constant cycle of those two questions is the healthy place to be.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we watched our thing a couple of years ago. Is it last year? And I am a sucker on social media for these things that pop up. And
It's why they get posted.
yeah,
It's
it
because
is
they're
why they
really
get
good.
posted. I get lured in. And I know
Yeah.
99% of them, if it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. But there was one that I actually thought, oh, there might be some merit in that. And it was something like the 30, 30, 30. And it's not the diet that everyone's banging on about. This was actually relating to, it said, if you can increase the number of customers you have by 30% and increase the frequency that they order and the average order value by 30%, actually, you right there, that is a really good kind of growth target. So, well, actually, there is some logic in that. There is some sense. So,
Well, isn't it there's the logic if you took like, was it an inch,
yeah,
or like 10 centimeters for our European friends,
yeah,
or whatever it is. But if you took an inch and you doubled it, what is it, 11 times, you've done the Eiffel Tower. So it's like it's those little processes. Yeah, if you refine three things, you're timesing the average order value by the conversion rates and multiplication times by the price or the margin or something on it. And suddenly you've made like, threefold growth, even though it's sort of 30, 30, 30, it's sort of twofold. So yeah, there's a lot of logic in that, I think.
there
But yeah,
is.
lots of incremental changes equal a big change.
And that's kind of what we thought, oh, well, actually, okay, let's delve into this a little bit and look at how could we get more customers. So, I was improving doing leads ads on Meta. How can we get our customers to spend more? So, looking at what the opportunities were there, how can we shove up that AOV? And thinking, if we just entice them little by little over the line to a new threshold. And those things have worked really well. And obviously, it's a thing around, well, you've done that. Now you've got to do it again and kind of keep repeating it. It just makes growth feel less like this enormous jump that you've got to make and something that's a bit more manageable and piecemeal and ideas come up and it's just a lot more creative. Kind of takes the stress out of starting on January 1st thinking, oh god, what are we going to do for the year, how are we going to do this. Kind of gives you a bit of a structure and a bit of a place to start.
So I'm just looking back at my notes. The question was, what do you guys sell?
Oh,
And I think
look, we've gone
we're close.
totally banged past all of that. No one has
No, all
to
good.
do what we do. I'm banging on about AOVs and all the rest of it. And it's like, yeah,
We're going to come back to those. I've made notes of them. I want to know what you changed, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But so you guys, you sell skincare products, don't you?
that's right.
Which we were talking about briefly, but just to make it clear, if anyone's like, sorry, my pencil's sharp, but the paper's blank. Yeah. So tell us about the range of products you got. Like, what sort of stuff do you sell? Who's it for? Yeah.
Cool. The first thing I wanted to do was have a lot of, I'm a bit of a control freak, nerd, OCD, all of those things. It gets on everyone's nerves, but hey, that's who I am. Um, I really wanted to be strict about the types of ingredients. They're all plant based. It has to be something you recognize, and everything has to have a purpose. So this is kind of all the principles upon which we were building what we were going to do, which were the skincare products and the body products, the hair products, the hand products that we make. And we have formulated like all our face products. That's me sweating and pouring over loads of research, looking up everything that the plant world has to offer. Lucky for me, one of my best friends is a gardening journalist. And so she's been fantastic for kind of leads and ideas because between us, I'm crap with plants. I'm the kind of person, I can't even keep a cactus alive. So,
Yeah, I jet wash the patio. My wife looks after the flowers. I do
yeah,
the grass, but the grass is like there's three things. It needs heat, water, and to be left alone, and that's it. It's like it's quite simple.
exactly. I'm good at destruction. I'm good at kind of, cutting things back or tidying, but the actual growth part I leave to my husband
Yeah.
because he's
Whereas I would cut the wrong thing back at the
oh
wrong time of
yeah.
year and kill it in the process.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've been there, done that. We were growing carrots once and I thought the tops were weeds, so I took all of those out. So yeah, I'm not
I got a grilling
happy
from
with.
my father-in-law for cutting back one of our Acer trees in the summer. He was like,
Oh,
don't touch the Acer." I'm like, "What's an Acer?" It's like the branch was in the way, it's gone. And luckily the tree survived. But yeah, he now comes round every kind of early spring and it's like, "We're cutting the tree today." He's like, "Can I have it?" No, no, no. He will do the cutting. I put it in the
yeah,
bin.
you're not allowed
That's the job.
anywhere near it. No,
So you got your own range of products, which is cool. And you guys have obviously come up with your own formulas.
absolutely.
Um, so to ask a marketing question with that then, and this is a bit of this might be your $1 million question of like, we're still trying to suss this out. We're on that journey. How do you get that across on a web page? How do you say to people that, okay, we've developed all this stuff ourselves, the credibility behind why these ingredients are better than everybody else's, why you should believe and trust us? What do you need to do on a web page to get that message across to a customer who's gone, that's a nice face cream, clicks on an ad and welcome to the site?
That is an enormous thing because it's not something you can do overnight. And what we have seen, obviously, we've been going over 14 years now. When we started, the world of skincare was very, very different. And the world that we're in, which is the natural and organic skincare world, was very, very different as well. And that was also part of the reason we got started because the choice was so limited. The formulations for creams, etc., are all water based. Well, that doesn't work for me. My skin's dry within 2 hours. There was clearly a gap, and because I'm a bit bloody minded about things as well, and I've always been the kind of person who's like, if I can't, I'll do it myself. I'll just do it myself because it's easier. And that's kind of some of the stubborn principles behind what we do. Um, and I've seen it with startups come out there into this super competitive world that we're in. I mean, I think it's as intense as it is for supplements in the space that we're in. It's a real
If
fight.
you I was thinking about this recently. If you think of the breadth of type of shop that sells products that would compete with yours, rightly or wrongly, better or worse, you're talking supermarkets, petrol stations. Like there is such a breadth. I went into a local cafe recently, and they had a load of face creams because everybody asked the lady who works there, "How come you got such an amazing complexion?" And you work in a cafe that has like coffee in the air and all the humidity and the heat and air conditioning. How do you keep your face looking so amazing? She's like, well, I use this cream, and people started buying it. She's like, I should just buy a box wholesale, and she did. And this, so I was like, why? It's just sorry, I work in marketing. Why are you selling this in here? And she explained, and she said, we sell one of those to every like 30 coffees we sell now. And I was like, she said we got stacks of the stuff in the back room, and we just keep topping them up every day. What you see there, we'll sell all that today. Just like, what? This is like brilliant little. It's called sweating the asset. I've already got my coffee shop. I'm already selling coffee. Buy another product here, and I make an extra £2 per person that does. It's like it's really smart. So you've got that breadth of competitor. How do you? I'm asking the same question. I know you're halfway through explaining, but like, how do you carve out a niche then with that in the context? How do you carve out something that customers relate to?
You just have to keep fighting your corner. The ultimate thing is not every product suits every person. So even if you're some mahoosive brand like L'Oreal, um, your product is not going to suit everyone. The stuff you put in there, some people might be fine with it. A lot of people aren't going to be fine with it. It's going to cause problems. So that automatically creates some differences. Then you've got customers' own drivers, the drive, the awareness now around sustainability, authenticity, traceability of products, ingredients, your whole supply chain. So people are a lot more discerning. There are some who aren't. They'll just carry on going into Boots and Superdrug, Sephora, whatever. buying that stuff. And if it works
We all
for
have off
them,
days.
that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for other people, and a lot of the customers that we get, it's those with challenging things like eczema, contact dermatitis, problems caused by the stuff that they've been buying from Boots, Superdrug, etc. Um, then there's the drive toward, I don't want to have needles shoved in my face. I don't want botulism pumped into my face because that's what Botox is. Um, I want to do something that supports my skin but isn't, going to potentially damage me long term. So it's really trying to hit that market. It's not a quick, if I wanted to start a business and be a multimillionaire within a year, well, I wouldn't be doing this.
You'd probably be in property in the UK.
Yes,
That's the
yes,
that's the thing.
exactly.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
be doing something completely different because this is not the gig to be doing if you want that. Now, we've seen them come and go, other brands that pop up. Um, they're out there. And I was reading an article by one who just folded the business after a year. And I thought, yeah, it's exactly all of these reasons that this is not an easy market. Because they said their cost of customer acquisition was huge because they just knew they've no authority. Their website had no brand authority. You're starting right at the very bottom, and your only way out of that hole, if it's quick, is to try and throw money at it. And they had gone for 2 or 3 rounds of venture capitalist funding, and they blew it all on advertising and marketing. Bottom line, what they were selling.
Scaling a problem, I call that. It's like it's not profitable, and now you're throwing more money to you're increasing the volume of something that's not working, hoping it will fix the problem. But when you increase the volume, profits get shrunk more. So if you're at a negative profit when you start, it's game over.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure. Because it's like, what are you really selling? And they were offering, natural hand wash, body wash refills. Well, big kahunas, I'm sorry, but and throwing loads of money at a problem isn't going to solve it. And because in the first year or two, they'd burned through so much venture capital. And I thought, wow, how could you have gone for even more funding when it clearly wasn't proving that this is going to work?
So what would you say are some of the key messages then that you put in front of customers that really resonate? Like how do you cutting through the someone who's got £1 million a day and you're not anywhere near on that scale by choice as well as you say, how what kind of messaging works for you guys to cut through? How do you contain what you've described about the ingredients, the what's positive, negative? Is it a long-term conversation? Are there certain things that just seem to bring people in and then we start nurturing them or get their first product out and then they can see how good it is?
It's all of the above. I mean, when we just started with cold pressed oils, organic cold pressed oils, on a very popular auction site. And that's where we started. And then it was just at that time when Etsy popped on the scene. So we jumped on there. They're a very different beast now. They're nothing like they were back in the day. And Not on the High Street came out into the, again, a very different beast to the one that's out there today. So there are different ways we could access the market, which didn't mean we had to shove everything into the kind of Google Ads world or anything like that. There were other platforms we could benefit from. And it was continually all about being transparent, being honest, sticking to our guns. I mean, we had various things with, well, if you want to look luxury or high end or anything like that, you've got to put everything in a little pretty box. And we just said, well, we're not, because it just goes in the bin. So, forget about that.
I actually ordered something a while ago that said on the box, "This box is not pretty because," and then it had this like really long paragraph, and because it said this box is not pretty because, I was like, "What a weird statement!" Like, I want to know more, and I read it was about 20 lines long, and it explained that it's going straight in the bin. and actually we've put more funding, and they put, like, we put 80% of all the product funding into product, not into packaging. And also, why your delivery was slow, well, it's been an eco delivery and it's taken a while. I was like, these guys have nailed it. There's Oatly, the milk brand, so a
Oh
vegan
yeah.
milk brand here in the UK. I drink their stuff, like gallons of it a year, and they always put things of, like, all cow no moo, this is the best oat milk for coffee. And they do really fun, quirky stuff on the side that if you even only read the headline, you're like, I'm buying a product, they've really thought about this. And so I love that as the journey. But even the thing that was written on the box, they said this hasn't been printed on, because that's a waste of time, waste of money, and then you need a big printing machine that needs manning and all the rest. We've rubber stamped this on, and we just buy ink pads and a rubber stamp, and then we stamp this on as we're packaging the thing. It's like, that's really smart, which is why part of it wasn't quite crisp. And at the bottom it said, and if you've read this, please go to this webpage. So I did, and it said, thanks for reading it. You got 25% of your next order, and could you leave us a review? And then they're probably starting a counter as well to say how many people have read this thing and therefore understand our brand, because those are the people that are going to be our long-term VIP customers. So they must have been segmenting me. As soon as I hit that page, must have gone into some sort of email segmentation. So our partners at Seguno have released a brand new app for Shopify, and it's called Shopify Connect for Canva. You can essentially look at all of your product images from Shopify directly in Canva and export them straight back. This can save you a lot of time. If you want to find out a bit more about this or go and find the app yourself, you can go to seguno.com/Canva. Enjoy. But I hear you. There must be like 50 components you guys need to be running all the time to nurture people, to educate people, so you do become that long-term one-stop shop. Like, I can't shop anywhere else, it has to be conscious skincare.
I mean, I think what we've found as well when we've been doing some recent analytics on our customer database, etc., is once we've got customers, how loyal they are. Our loyalty rates are really good, which is invaluable. I mean, that is what you want, our customer retention.
Well, it should become easy when you've got a good sticky brand as well. That's the thing.
And that's what we try and work toward. And, I'm not perfect. I'm not a Robotron.
Good.
No one. Yeah,
This
exactly.
isn't an AI conversation. We're real people moaning about things. Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, bottom line, I'm still precious when products go out the door because I have a relationship with them. It's like I'm giving a bit of myself. Sounds really nuts, but I do feel like that. I hate
But that
it.
comes across.
Oh,
Yeah, I see some of your Instagram ads popping up, and we obviously follow you on Instagram as well at the podcast because you've been on before. But yeah, seeing you as the face of the brand, I think, is so key. I've seen so many businesses where there's someone like yourself. There was, in fact, one, and I think Jess from her team might be listening. But there's a lady who's called Rebecca, and we were just constantly wanting to put Rebecca recommends all over the site, and it was like, no, I don't want to be the face of it. Like, I'm not into that. Like, but you are so in control of everything that actually it can justify why some of the web pages don't look like normal web pages, don't operate in the normal way. It's because this is your world. And actually, if we put that at the front of the brand, you're stepping into Rebecca's lounge, basically. Look at all the products. Now you're stepping into her kitchen. Look at all the products. That brings real tone and voice to it. Whereas they were so product led of just everyone's buying these particular clocks. Let's push that. And it was just difficult because people would just come and see the clock and go, it's a clock. There's nothing. There's no. They got emotional connection, which I think from your watching your Instagram stories and reels, you get that watching your content and go, okay, this lady clearly knows what is going on in this world, and I trust her. It's authentic and real person going, right, I'm going to tell you about this product. I'm doing this, or today I learned this. That's all part of the brand story that you guys provide, which I think you do incredibly well. So well done.
Oh, thanks for saying that. I mean, what we've really noticed, and perhaps this is an influence of TikTok, is whereas back in the day, if you were doing any marketing and if you wanted to be taken seriously, it was all very stuffy marketing, all very staged, all very kind of trying to look high end, looking like some kind of high.
Pretending you had 1,000 staff when there were
Yeah,
3 of you. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yep.
that's the sort of thing. And when you saw some of the perfume ads where they really go to town and then they have someone with the most monotone voice delivering the brand strapline at the end of it. And you think, what? But
Reminds me of insurance
it don't.
adverts. They changed the law in the UK recently. So on an insurance advert, You know, when they sort of say, like, protect the things that matter. You love your dog, get some insurance for your dog. And then the boring robot comes in and goes, terms and conditions apply, and we're regulated by the FCA. So, and all this nonsense. They changed the law recently because there used to be a rule that there was a certain amount of words per 10 seconds that you could put in. And they've scrapped that, which is why they just go blah, 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 blah. And you're like, whoa, if I buy this insurance, what the have I just sold my mortgage to you? Like, what have I done here? Like, but yeah, they changed the rule, which is why they all sound like gibberish and you can't understand them. And I signed a thing, and I'm part of lots of different marketing groups and kind of business groups here in the UK and a couple in the US. And I signed a thing the other day saying, like, can we just get rid of it? No one can understand it. And actually, no one cares. Just because you heard a radio advert doesn't mean you need to know all the terms and conditions on that radio advert. And we worked out like the percentage of radio ads that are then ineffective that are causing issues to the UK economy. So it's actually having like a 0.5% impact on the UK economy because radio and TV ads had this spiel afterwards. That honestly, there was a statistical makeup, and I read it and went, yeah, I could agree with that. The data looks right, and signed it myself. So I think it's just. I think, as you say, that kind of stuffy marketing world is slowly disappearing. There are changes coming to cookie banners in the UK. Sorry, European friends, you're not getting them. The EU has said. So finally, one benefit of Brexit. But there we go. Let's not get political today. We said we wouldn't talk too much about politics. So you've got that stuffy marketing. So what's your response to that been? How do you guys approach marketing? What are you trying to achieve versus what L'Oreal and Maybelline and everybody else would go after?
We really have to look at what can we do? How nimble can we be
Mm,
versus what they're doing?
yeah.
Now, you're not going to have some of the kind of bigger brands and some of the ones that we thought, let me just dismiss that we perceive in some respects as our competitors. They are bigger than us. But when I see their ads pop up on Instagram, I think, God, you're boring. You've got a hell
Yeah.
of a marketing budget opportunity, but
And you've come out
it's
with this.
really
Yeah.
boring. And I've just finished a meta ad strategist course. And it's been really good because, again, it's back to, right, I'll do it myself.
And not us, might I add. We did a look at
No,
Google a while ago, and we came
sorry.
back and said, yeah, we said we think you can do this best. So it's amazing to hear that you've sacked all the agencies. That's good. We tried to be honest here. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. And I like, even if you're at a stage where you think, well, I don't have time to do all this stuff, because like anything, like doing Google ads, meta ads, you need to have an understanding of what it's about. And I thought, I want to have a really good understanding of how this fits with what we are trying to do, that it's not the answer to everything. Um, how to use it, the best ways to use it, things to be mindful of, and to understand all the technical background, how to set it all up. So, should we outsource those ads at some point? I know what the team are doing. I know when they show me all the metrics, what I'm looking at, and I understand it all. And that's the key thing. But part of that process, even though I am now kind of more on our social media pages, I really don't like it, because I was saying the other day that as soon as I sit with my phone camera, I'm all animated. As soon as that goes on, I turn really boring. And I don't know what it is, because I'm not like that. But I suddenly feel this pressure of performance, and I just think, oh God. But thank God for overlays and stuff like that, and just being little images together, because I can kind of cheat it a little bit. But
Yeah, I think I said to a lot of sort of founders or marketing people in the past, or even when we've had actors coming in to create content for some sort of advertising campaign, I've always said focus on the topic, and if you focus on that and think less about the, as you say, like the production, the performance part of it, it's one of those things that like there's certain, and my wife will know more of these than anyone in my life. There's certain things that if you mention a certain topic to me, I'll go, whoa, 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 hang on a minute, and whatever cameras around me, it riles me up. And it's always a friend of mine I used to live with, Chris, many years ago. Chris always said to me, when you see something done badly and it annoys you, that's your career. That's your job right there. And there'll be a few things and you get to decide between them. I thought that was fascinating because certainly, I mean, I've left the advertising marketing world twice, and every time I've left it, I've seen something and gone, that's all. Like, what? Why on earth is they do? Like you say about L'Oreal and other corporate stuffy brands, the way they do their ads, going, that is so boring. I could do that so much better. And we work with quite a few kind of stuffy B2B companies. We've got one at the moment in the kind of occupational health, B2B lead gen sort of space at the moment. And it's really stuffy and boring. And we put one slightly fun thing going like occupational health, completed it, mate. We're not allowed to use it because that is trademarked from a TV series called The In-Betweeners, but where someone said he completed Football Manager, which I thought was quite amazing because it never ends. But that kind of like putting a personality on it to say, and I remember the UK government had the worst one ever, which was tax doesn't have to be taxing. And it was like the biggest lie ever. And now it's become like a sarcastic, like as soon as someone's bogged down in the 400 billion tax returns we have to do every week now. It was like tax doesn't have to be taxing. It's like, well, it is. But I think trying to make something that's stuffy fun is such a good way to go about it. And how much in your content do you guys talk about the ingredients, where they're sourced, versus how much do you actually talk about most skincare does this and talk about your competitors? Like, do you keep it quite focused internal, or do you kind of out them a little bit and say they're doing this and this is why it's perfectly legal, but this is why it's bad?
Yeah, it's very tempting to do the latter because I was in Boots the other day and I saw this brand new brand that had popped up on the shelf in very now on point, trendy packaging, giving it all the usual greenwash and all the rest of it. And I thought, right, what is this stuff? And I had a look at it. Some of the ingredients were okay, but I thought one of the things about it was trying to give the impression that by spelling out what was in the ingredients list, that was okay. But all it did was explain what each component in the ingredients list did, whether it was a surfactant like a foamer, or whether it is for fragrance and parfum. Don't get me started. That winds me up because there's a litany of poisons. If you ever see that word on any product, run, because that is legally where you hide all your toxins.
Yeah. And so, do you talk about this in your social channels then, just to out them and say, don't ever buy a product with this, and here's why? By the way, none of our products have that in. We have alternatives that are. Is that how you approach content creation then?
Sometimes I do it that way. I do get really quite hot under the collar. I've always been like an armchair protester. But back in the day, in the 80s, when I was a teenager, I went on every march. Every march in London, I was there with my placard. It was also a great way to see some of the best bands of the time too. But you know,
Band Aid and all the rest of them.
oh
Yeah, standing up for
yeah.
some sort of cause. Yeah, love it.
But the thing is, you don't want to kind of. I can be accused of, and my family do tell
You don't want
me.
to anger people into stuff, do
Yeah,
you?
and that just can sound like angry all the time and moaning
Yeah,
about
yeah.
everyone else. And it's like, that's not always a great look. Just moaning about everyone else and saying, oh, this is, sort of weird. It's like trying to bring some balance to it. I did do quite a lengthy Instagram reel when we were featured in Ethical Consumer, and Ethical Consumer really go into, they're like the Witch magazine for the kind of ethical product world. And they went right into us, deep delve, and compared us and ranked us to other companies in our space.
Oh wow.
And it was
This could be a double-edged sword. It's either
oh, I
fantastic or
know, but
terrible.
it's like, but you want that. I know it sounds
Yeah.
bad,
It's
but
in
you
your
want
line of
it.
work, you want that.
Yeah,
I think your brand wants that because it's like, find some faults, you won't. We've
for
really thought
sure.
about this.
Yeah, where are
Mm.
we falling short? I mean, we did really well. And there's a couple of things. Of course, there's stuff that I want to do and change, kind of hamstrung a little bit. Um,
It all costs money though, which a lot of these reviews then say, "Oh, this product doesn't have that," and it's like, well, that's going to cost me $10 million to like create that and execute because everyone else has patented their own version. So there's a reason why we don't have this stuff, but you're not allowed to write that in their review. Like their review is just this
not
car's
really.
faster. It's like, yeah,
I mean, there are those limitations and things. Sometimes people will email us and say, "Oh, I really like this product, but can you take this out?" And I have to say to them, "I'm sorry, but that's going to cost thousands of pounds because we're going to have to reformulate and retest." And that's the honesty of it. And then we have to create a whole new label for it. So it's not just a small change. We just can't do that. I'm sure some people might and just, do it under the radar, but you've got to be responsible, be a responsible brand. I'd love to change some of our packaging. Most of it's glass and aluminium, which is great. I would like to kind of reintroduce refills in some way, shape, or form where we, have a closed loop cycle. And I've been in touch with a company who have done that really successfully. But again, it's like you've got to reach that point where your customer base will engage with that enough to do it.
yeah. And one of the KPIs I always bring investment conversations around to of like, okay, if we were going to put money behind something, is it any of these things? The benchmark I always find is Google Ads click costs. Like I think Google Ads actually changed the game. It's going, well, that's 10,000 new people coming into my website who are looking for my list of products. How much do I kind of take that today and then have profit later or invest in something now? But I'm still going to have to invest in the Google Ads clicks later to get traffic in. Um, I'm just conscious of time, and there's a question I really want to ask as we come into land on this. And my question is, and you might have 1,000 answers. So I'm going to ask you for your, because there's going to be a lot of things to this. I'm going to ask you, what's your number one thing that you are aware of is a challenge at the moment as a brand, as a Shopify user, as a company running down this ethical highway? Although sometimes it might feel like you're walking rather than running. What is one thing you guys are so focused on changing at the moment? What's the biggest thing you want to see change in the business? Where to
Wow,
start?
that's an enormous question. That's an enormous thing. Um, we want to reclaim the customers we lost through Brexit, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So I'm actually off to the Netherlands in November to start that process. So that's really good. The Welsh government do a program, and we're part of that, and it's fantastic. So looking forward to that. As AI, Google, and everything changes,
I've
we're,
heard of them, yeah.
yeah, we're very, very aware. We kind of realised this, maybe late to the party at the beginning of the year, how AI was going to affect how we're found, that Google necessarily isn't the only kid in town, and the importance and ever increasing importance of being found on AI. Because in the way that Google's own AI, you type in something on search and the way it pops up and some of the links you get, thinking, hold on a minute, no one's even going to look below the line anymore. I don't.
So we've got to be there with our brand answering that
Sure.
question as fast as possible.
So
Yeah, yeah.
what we're doing now is with all our content, all our blog posts, doing tons of content all around positioning us with the authority that we know we have. We know what we're talking about. We know what we're doing. Getting more and more of that out there. So we're busily churning out at least 2 to 3 blog posts a week, keyword-tastic, and really trying to push that on both the SEO side, making it all AI friendly so it can be picked up. Google itself, Google Ads, honestly, they do my head in, not to put, it,
I remember when we looked, one of the reasons we didn't just jump in and go, yeah, start paying us. Like, this is what we can do. We looked at it and we take a long term view on these things. And we take a long term view of like, there are so many ifs, buts, unknowns. And actually, in 6 months, we could still be learning a lot of that. And now you're paying us to learn it and Google. And actually thought there's so many things it's such a challenge, I think, for you guys in your space because there is every, like I said, every supermarket, every kind of local convenience store could be selling your product and advertising it. So it's a real challenge.
It is an absolute challenge, and we really understand that. And we appreciate when, guys like you are honest with us and say, look.
I think your response, which I always find hilarious, was like, "We want to work with you more now," and they were like, "Well, that doesn't help my position, does it?" It's like, so, when you turn someone down and they're like, "I want to be with you even more in this
Yeah.
relationship because you've said no." Yep. But hopefully that's not the clip that makes it to Instagram this week as a married man with a young baby.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate. Same as last time and today. I really appreciate your honesty on these things. It's one thing we always get with you, Rebecca, is honesty of like, this is where we're at. This is the mountain we're climbing, and these are the bits where we keep tripping over rocks. Well, look, I appreciate your time, and it's been so good to have you on today. My final question is, if someone's listening to this going, Rebecca, I need your products in my life. I want to see the business. I want to see the way you approach socials. How can people follow you, get in touch, sign up to your emails, see the store? What's the best way to get hold of you?
Our website is www.conscious-skincare.com. And I know a hyphen is controversial, but hey, that's how it is.
That's who we are.
That's who we are. Controversial all the way.
Yep.
On Instagram, we're at conscious_skincare. On Facebook, it's at Organic Conscious Skincare. Hey, how is that? I'm such a good marketer. I can't even remember what the handle is.
Too busy. It's below you. It's too busy. You're too busy for that.
And, on our website, there's lots of ways you can contact us. There's an inbox chat thing. We are a small business. It's basically me and my husband. We're the directors, but we do everything. And
Quinton deserves a shout as well.
He's talking to a shout because he's our content miller at the moment. He's churning out the content, churning out the news that he's just doing and dealing with Google ads. So he deserves a medal and a big shout out. But yeah, there are loads of ways to get in touch, and we do answer people, and we answer them in lots of detail too.
Good. Well, Rebecca, thank you so much for your time. And as I said at the start, like such a different type of brand and episode to what we normally have. So it's amazing to see how far you've gone down certain roads and some of the challenge you had. So thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure having you on the show again.
Oh, likewise. Thanks so much for inviting me, and have a good day.
Amazing. And thanks everyone for tuning in, and a special shout out to Rebecca as well, because I think it was about 24 hours ago I emailed her saying, Rebecca, I need to get some episodes done before I go on holiday. Are you around? And you're like, yeah, I'd love to. Let's do it. So here she is. And thank you so much. And thanks for everyone for tuning in. Thanks again for all our subscribers, people that have left us reviews. Go and click some buttons on some of the channels. If you want to watch us, we are on YouTube with video, and we are also on Spotify now. We started putting videos on there. And Spotify video is amazing because even if you're listening to it, the video is running in the background, which means you can listen to it in the car, get out and start watching our amazing guests. We are starting to do a bit more on screen share and other bits and pieces that are probably coming to YouTube soon, and possibly Spotify. So watch this space. And if you haven't already, check out my Tuesday Tea Break Talks episodes. Different cup of tea every week. Although I've been sent some coffee, so we have to change the name this week. The Bean Shop UK, based up in Scotland. Lorna and the team have sent me some amazing coffee again. And I've even got one of their t-shirts, so I will be fully branded up whilst on holiday on Tuesday. So definitely check out that episode. Be coming in a few days. Thanks for tuning in, and hope you can join us again next time. I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Yoast. They are the go-to tool for getting your content SEO ready and Google loved. From keywords to readability and those all-important meta tags, which I know a lot about, Yoast makes it easy. Right now, our listeners can get 15% off all WordPress purchases if you use the Yoast plugin on WordPress, and also on monthly Shopify plans for your first 6 months. Just use the code WWS15, so WWS15 at checkout at yoast.com. That's WWS15, 15% off for better visibility, more clicks, and a healthier website. Let Yoast handle the SEO so you can focus on what you do best.